I'm Egbert, the owner of this station. Check out my website at egbert.com. That's EGGBURT, egbert.com. Now it's back to Brad and John. Check out their website at bjshow.co. The BJ Show? Come on, guys. Anyway, here's B and J.
I had a text from a listener who claims that I am not telling the truth. There is no such thing as the White Earth Nation. I'm looking at the website, whiteearth.com. And the reason I bring this up is last night there was a lady on from Minnesota. I think she's a state rep or something like that. And she identifies herself as a member of the White Earth Nation. And she's an Indian. And right on the front page of the White Earth Nation, it says, History of White Earth, and there is a chief, and it says right there, and it says, and let me give you this thing, it says right here, it says, all Indian tribes have names for themselves. The largest Indian group in Minnesota calls itself, and I can't pronounce this, Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, which means the original people. Europeans name them Ojibwe, Ojibwe. No one is exactly sure how this name developed. Perhaps it comes from the Anishinaabe word Oji. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Both these names refer to the same people. In Canada, the Anishinaabe call themselves Owigi. United States, many tribal members prefer the name Chippewa. So the name that we use in this history is the White Earth Reservation. The White Earth Reservation is located in Becker, Clearwater, and Mahanomama counties in northern. Can you make M-A-H-N-O-M-E-N? What's that? Mahanomama? I can't even say it.
I guess they didn't teach it at Hazelwood High School.
No,
right?
they
I guess
didn't.
They didn't teach proper Native American English there.
In north central Minnesota, created in 1867 by a treaty between the United States and the Mississippi Band of Chippewa Indians, one of the 7 Chippewa reservations in Minnesota. Although the White Earth Chippewa no longer live as their ancestors did, they've kept alive their tribal heritage. Almost every aspect of their present-day life has been strongly influenced by the past. It never says where they came up with the name White Earth.
Well, but and I went to Wikipedia. Are you on Wikipedia?
No, I'm actually on the website. I'm on whiteearth.com, which is the official website.
I'm on Wikipedia, and it says the first tribal chief was named Ted Drews, who insisted that White Earth was a flavor next to cardinal sin. So that was, I guess, a gentleman named Ted Drews actually took over the Chippewa Nation.
You had me there for a minute. I'm going like,
thank you, Brad.
Ted Drews. I'm going, okay.
It takes a little while, yeah.
It's John. Yeah, the brain doesn't work real quick. I've got the Joe Biden brain. Okay, speaking of which, our president of the United States, Eastern Time, which is what the media goes by. What time did Joe Biden get on the stage last night?
I don't know. What time was it, Brad?
Almost midnight.
Oh my God. What do you think he was pumped up with? Serious business. What do you think they had him pumped up with?
But the crazy thing about this is they've got all these other people. See, first off, okay, I say it about the Democrats. I say it about the Republicans. Okay, why do you need 4 nights for the obvious? You know what I mean? I mean, like the obvious is we had this guy, in Trump's behalf. He won fair and square. He went through all the primaries and everybody dropped out and he's the guy. Okay, now we have Kamala, who's won nothing. Keep in mind when she was running for president back in 2020, I think she got 0 votes and she dropped out. I think she dropped out before any of the big primaries. And I think in California, she came in like 6th place behind Wang guy? What was the name? Who the guy running?
Andrew Wang, the Wang gang.
Yeah, she came in behind Andrew Wang, okay?
Or was it Yang?
I don't know. One of those things.
I think it was Andrew Yang. It was Andrew Yang.
It was Andrew well, I can't even think straight this morning.
He was trying to buy a lot of Missouri farmland, I remember, from the governor's race. He kept trying to buy Missouri farmland. That's what I gathered. Go ahead, Brad.
It was Andrew Twig and Berries. That's who it was. Okay. Okay. So you put the president of the United States, who's essentially, this is his almost like sort of his farewell address where he's handing the baton. Remember, he said, why are you running for president? Remember his comment? I'm the only person that can beat Donald Trump. Well, apparently that's not the case anymore. And the reason he's not running for president anymore is because of the fact that everybody figured out that he's probably the only person who can't beat Donald Trump, right?
That's true. You got a good point.
I mean, he's like to the point where you could have probably put Corky the Clown in there and he would have been able to, and he would get more votes than Donald Trump. Okay, so I mean, than Joe Biden. So why do you have the guy come on and local time, that would be 10:30. Now keep in mind, the news cycle on the East Coast in New York City, they are an hour ahead of us. So whereas we have the 10 o'clock news, they have the 11 o'clock news. So he's on at 11:30, which means he's past all the newscasts on the East Coast. And obviously, he's on at 10:30 Central, which once again, past all the newscasts here in the Central Time Zone, and pretty much the same thing as you move across the country. Why would you do that to the president? Can you understand that?
Yeah, I think it's just blatant disrespect. And I've seen other people comment on this. This isn't an original thought. But the idea of even having him speak the first night, Brad, in pro wrestling, that's called being a curtain jerker. Because you jerk open the curtain for the crowd. You're like the opening act. So the Bidens are the opening act. The sitting president, the man who 6 weeks ago was strong enough to beat Donald Trump. Now he's just jerking the curtain at a convention where everybody else is a star. Bill Clinton is a star. Hillary Clinton is, I guess she was there last night. But you get what I'm saying. Because Joe Biden's not the star anymore. He's just being ushered out. By the way, the top headline on my website today, Brad, Missouri Net interviewed a couple different delegates, one of them being State Senator Carla May from St. Louis. And her quote was, "No, I don't think Joe Biden was pushed out. I think he just wanted to do what was right for the country." And it's like, you're being a good Democrat there, Carla. Good for you. But of course he's getting pushed out.
Right. I think everybody knows. I think, everybody in the Democratic Party, and if you gave him all the doses of sodium pentothal, they'd say, yes, it was a coup. They pushed him out. They sat down with him and said, they didn't sit down with him. I think that's why he's mad. It was like phone calls. It was phone call from Barack.
Yeah.
Phone call from, okay. Topic number 2 for this segment, okay? City schools. Is this a mess or what? Okay.
Unbelievable. Can't get them to school. Can't get the kids to school.
Did you hear the statistic? First day attendance?
No, I didn't hear. What was it?
72%. Okay. Not even 3/4. Okay. It would almost 3/4. Okay. How sad is this? And the thing over the weekend, they said, well, a local bus company backed out on 6 buses. Okay. I'm going to say this. The city of St. Louis is still sitting on what? $250 million in Rams money? Okay, isn't it like $250 million? Originally, it was close to.
It is.
It was $750 million. It was like $750 million. The attorneys took like 30%, a third off the top, so that left like $500 million rather. The split between the city, the county, and the sports authority. Okay, the city's sitting on all this money. How come they can't call Bluebird or Wayne Coach Company and say, hey, we got a check for you. Send us 100 new buses. We'll send you a check. We've got the money in the bank. We don't have to worry about financing or anything like that. We'll find 100. We order 100 new buses, and then we are going to start paying bus drivers $50 an hour. Where can you sign up at? People would be, I'll take that job. $50 an hour. I'll put up with those brat kids. I don't understand this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the other crazy thing about this is, you know who Talby Roach is? I love that name, Talby Roach.
No, I don't.
You don't know who Talby Roach is?
Is she a leader of the White Earth Nation?
No, it's a he, and it's one of Ed Golterman's least favorite person. Because you know why it's one of Ed Golterman's least favorite person?
I have no idea.
Talby Roach is the head of Bi-State Development, the Metrolink guys.
Oh, man.
And Ed, when I used to pay attention to him, is always complaining about the fact there's no bus that comes in this part of Kirkwood where I live. I have to walk 3 blocks to get on the bus. And he's always, Talby Roach. Matter of fact, I found this ticked off Ed Golterman. I always told my tick off Ed Golterman mode. I found a press shot, a headshot of Talby Roach on the Metrolink side, or Bi-State, whatever they call themselves nowadays, and I put underneath President Ed Golterman Fan Club, and I would put that on his page all the time. Okay, Talby Roach last week made the comment, and remember, the school district said, well, we're going to give out a bunch of bus passes and a bunch of Metrolink passes to the students. So Talby Roach came out and said, nobody ever told us they were going to do this. We don't know if we can handle this because there's certain...
I saw that. Yeah,
and
they're going to be overloaded.
I'm going like, somebody from the St. Louis City schools can't pick up the damn phone and say, hey, Bi-State, can you help us out? We need to get a bunch of these students to school, and we're thinking about buying a bunch of bus passes, a bunch of Metrolink passes. What do you think? Talk about no communication. And it's like I'm going like, okay, here we go again. And they put together this hodgepodge of bus companies. And the crazy thing about it is, people are saying, well, what happened to the old bus company? They got so fed up with dealing with the city school district, they said, we're out of here. We're not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous.
So, Brad, but to your point earlier, let's go back to Bluebird for a minute. If I'm running Bluebird and the city comes to me and says, hey, we got a check for you. We need your help right away. Absolutely not. That check's going to bounce. But to quote Jay-Z, checks might bounce. Alphabet boys might check my account. Do you really think that somebody from the city is going to have the competence to actually get the check in your hands and that the check will clear?
Well,
I don't believe it. I say thanks, but no thanks.
So you're saying that the Wayne Coach Company used to be Superior Coaches. I don't think they're out of business now. And Bluebird, I don't even know if Bluebird's in business anymore. That's an interesting industry. And you're going to say, what does Brad know about the bus industry? More than I should, because believe it or not, I follow that. And I know it's not one of my nerdy things, but it's very competitive. The buses, and they're going to say, well, we couldn't keep up with the demand. Okay, well then go to General Motors out in Wentzville. They build the only place in the world that builds the full-size GMC vans and the full-size Chevrolet vans. That's the only place in the world. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No, really?
Yeah, the only place in the world. There's no other place. If you see one of those, if you see on the news, you see a GMC or a Chevy van tooling down the streets of Tel Aviv, that came from Wentzville, Missouri, believe it or not, because they're made no other place in the world. Okay, so they could go to GM and say, okay, we need to order 100 of your 12-passenger vans. Okay, how quick can we get them? Okay, but no. And once again, the money's there. And see, to me, this is the thing that a Tish, whatever you want to call her, really wants to be taken seriously. She should be involved in this. I know she's the mayor of St. Louis, and it's a little bit different because of the fact that she's not on the school board. She's not the superintendent. But it's the damn city of St. Louis, and she's the mayor. These are her schools. She should be front and center involved in this. Did you see her anywhere yesterday? No.
I didn't. No, I didn't see that. I think the best thing she could do is probably fly to Seattle and see if there's anybody left that can fix this. I think you fly into SeaTac. Hopefully there's not protesters. Step over the human waste and say, is there anybody here from a school district who can bring some friends, create some shell LLCs? You'll make a little money. Fix our transportation. That's where the answers come from, Brad.
This is why I like you, John, is that you have this perverted sense of humor, just like I do.
Thank you, Brad. What a compliment. Don't make me miss you more than I already did yesterday, Brad.
What's interesting about this is, what's so funny about what you say is exactly the truth. That, remember, and here's another thing. What happened to the superintendent? Is she still suspended or is she fired?
Yeah, I think so, because I looked at to confess, I didn't click on the story the Post-Dispatch has. I'm bringing that up right now. But the story about the interim gal named I won't even try to remember her name because I'll get it wrong and I'll say something that would even offend me. But whoever the chick was that was the interim, she was at the podium. Oh yeah, her name is Millicent. Which, by the way, is from the Latin 1,000 cents. Millicent, she's not related to 50 Cent, but Millicent Borashade. She was there. She's got a big flower on her chest, and she's talking about the challenges of transportation. You think?
Man, it just, once again, this is the reason I started the Westplex Chamber of Commerce. And I heard Annie Fry on 97.1 talking about this yesterday. And this is one of my points, that when you travel and you're in a hotel room or you're on a ride at Disneyland and somebody next to you says, hey, where are you from? If you live in Wentzville, live in Arnold, you live in Ladue, you live in Spanish Lake, you say, I'm from St. Louis. Mistake. You say, and if you live in Wentzville, you say, I'm from the Westplex. And then their next question is, the Westplex, where's that? Well, it's this amazing area. It's the confluence of the two greatest rivers in the United States, the Missouri and the Mississippi. And it's a land that's like no other land, a land of progressive things, not necessarily politically progressive, but there's a vibe about the area. People are moving forward. We don't have crime problems like we do in other parts of the country. We don't have education problems like we do in other parts of the country. And in parentheses, actually looking to the east, if you know what I'm saying. And once again, because it's all about marketing. If you have a product that gets trashed, something happens to a product, General Mills has a breakfast cereal that somebody comes out and says, I grew a third leg because I ate this cereal. What does General Mills do? They take the cereal off the market and they stick it back on the market with a different name, and it's the same damn cereal. They just rebranded, right? And everything.
That's exactly right, yeah.
And that's what we do with the Westplex. But what do I know? And the answer to that is not much.
No, you know a lot, Brad. Now, in the interim, until then, I'm going to keep telling people I'm from Hamburg.
No, Tunerville.
I'm from Tunerville and Hamburg. And then I go fishing in what used to be a toxic waste dump at Francis Howell, the original Francis Howell High School.
Man.
And I get my fish from the August Busch Conservation Area.
I don't know if I told you or not, and this is a true story. I knew a woman years ago who her husband was a PE teacher, and he was a football coach, Francis High School. And she told me the story that all the coaches that coached with her husband, including her husband, got cancer, and that there was a drinking fountain out off back where they practice on the one side of the campus there at Francis Howell on Highway 94 that apparently was fed by a spring, and they were drinking polluted water that had radioactivity in it, and that's why they all got cancer. Now, this is what she told me. I'm just going by what a woman who told me that her husband got cancer, and they're pretty sure that's where he got cancer from. And I'm going like, okay, that's so crazy. And we got our kids down there, right? But of course.
Yeah, but let me interrupt though, Brad. At least you didn't have to worry about somebody, quote, finding a noose out back behind the high school, right, Brad?
We'll talk about that next, okay? Because that's the big news story. And I'm going like, okay, here we go again. Okay, isn't that the White Snake song? Let me try to talk again.
Here we go again. Yeah. Where's Tawny Katane when you need her? Rest in peace.
We talked about her last week, or was the week before? Okay.
It was a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?